Welcome back to The Explainer, everyone. Today, we're putting on our cosmic anthropologist hats. We're taking a highly structured, strictly objective, and honestly, absolutely fascinating deep dive into a really specific piece of extraterrestrial lore. Now, whether you're a seasoned researcher of cosmic mythologies or you're just entirely new to these concepts, my goal today is to map out this complex narrative for you. We're going to unpack the biological, the political, and the spiritual profile of an alien race known as the Vegans, exactly as they're described in our source text.
To do this, we're pulling all of our information today straight from this incredibly dense text, Dialogues with Extraterrestrials. Specifically, we're zooming right in on Chapter 4. This chapter documents a detailed, recorded conversation with an entity claiming to be a vegan from the Lyra constellation. Now, as an explainer, we aren't here to debate the reality of this encounter. Instead, we're neutrally analyzing the world building, the philosophies, and the cosmic rules presented in this chapter. It's a really intricate piece of literature, and breaking it down piece by piece is absolutely the best way to grasp it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our four-part framework for today. First, the vegan cosmic origins. Second, the chameleon effect. Third, galactic law and ethics. And finally, the primordial spiritual quest.
Section 1, the vegan cosmic origins. So, before we can even begin to understand how they operate, we kind of need to know where they came from, right? According to the text, the entities we call vegans actually share common ancestry with the Pleiadians. Originally, both groups were Venusians. Millennia ago, there was this highly advanced civilization thriving on Venus, but volcanic cataclysms basically made survival impossible. This forced a massive diaspora. The ancestors of the Vegans migrated out into the cosmos, eventually settling in the Lyra constellation, right near the star Vega. But here's the wild part. Their journey didn't end there. The text states that in the present day, many vegans have actually traveled to Earth. But they aren't arriving in, flying saucers. They are actively reincarnating into human bodies right now, secretly living among us. And why? To prepare for a coming spiritual awakening guided by an entity named El Kantara.
Moving on to Section 2, the chameleon effect.
Now, you might be wondering, if you were to meet a vegan in their natural environment, what would they actually look like? Well, to understand their biology, the text points us to an ancient Eastern philosophical concept called Ichinen Sanzen. It roughly translates to 3,000 realms in a single moment of life. Now, in Earth philosophy, this just means our inner mental state instantly colors our reality. But for the vegans, this isn't a metaphor. It is literal biological science. On their homeworld, their physical bodies undergo instantaneous transformation based entirely on their inner thoughts. If a vegan feels fiercely protective, boom, they might instantly transform to look like a lion. If they feel defensive, they might suddenly sprout spikes like a hedgehog. They are literal shapeshifters. But, and this is key, the shifting is completely involuntary. It's directly tied to their immediate emotional and spiritual state. And this brings us to a huge so what moment, because it highlights the massive psychological gap between their species and ours. Since a vegan's form is constantly shifting to reflect their inner mind, they live in a state of absolute physical honesty. They literally cannot hide their true intentions or feelings from one another. Their bodies give them away instantly. The vegan speaking in the text actually points out how bizarre human beings are in comparison. We humans have fixed forms, right? We all wear the same biological uniform every single day, and that allows us to hide our true thoughts, tell lies, and conceal our inner darkness behind a pleasant smile. To a vegan, our ability to harbor secret malice while looking completely normal is an entirely alien and, frankly, deeply alarming concept.
All right, Section 3, galactic law and ethics.
Understanding their deep commitment to honesty really builds a larger picture of galactic relations. The text explicitly contrasts the vegan philosophy with another well-known extraterrestrial group you've probably heard of, the Reptilians. The Reptilians, according to this source, are driven by an ideology of evolution and competition. They believe in survival of the fittest, basically driving progress through conflict and dominance. But the vegans, they stand in stark contrast. Their core philosophy is based on change and diversity. Because their own bodies constantly change, they value adaptability, multi-presence, and the peaceful coexistence of vastly different forms of life. They view the highly competitive, dominant nature of the reptilian ideology as a lower, much more primitive way of thinking.
This belief in peaceful coexistence heavily informs their view on how aliens should interact with humans.
The vegan in the text outlines what essentially reads like a cosmic legal document. They sharply criticize other extraterrestrial factions for what they deem illegal interventions here on Earth. They specifically call out forced nocturnal abductions, beaming sleeping humans out of their beds into ships. They completely condemn the implanting of tracking microchips, literally comparing it to how humans tag wild migratory birds. And they are absolutely disgusted by genetic experiments that aim to create human-alien hybrids.
So the bottom line is that the vegans view these actions as severe violations of cosmic law. They explicitly state that human beings are sovereign souls. We shouldn't be treated as mere test tube animals or biological playthings for more technologically advanced species. They believe in observing, maybe subtly guiding human civilization by reincarnating here, but they view direct, forceful tampering as highly unethical and just flat-out illegal.
Finally, Section 4, the primordial spiritual quest. So this begs the question, if they're so technologically advanced, so ethically evolved, and they possess this incredible shape-shifting biology, why on earth are they giving all of that up to reincarnate into fixed, clunky human bodies on a messy planet like ours? Well, according to the text, they're here as students. Despite their vast knowledge of space travel, multidimensional existence, and all that philosophy of transformation, they recognize a gap in their own understanding. They've come to Earth specifically to study under that grand spiritual entity we mentioned earlier, El-Kantare. They are searching for what they call the primordial law.
The vegan explains that while their race has totally mastered the laws of transformation, changing one existing thing into another, like shifting their physical forms, they haven't yet mastered the ultimate spiritual science. As the text highlights, they want to learn the alpha law. That is, the ability to create something completely out of nothing, to generate matter, life, and spirit from absolute zero. This is a level of divine creation they just haven't achieved yet, and they genuinely believe this profound lesson is currently being taught right here on Earth.
It really is a beautifully poetic reason for traversing the stars, isn't it? But before we wrap up this explainer, I want to bring this esoteric cosmic lore directly back to you. Think about that vegan biology we discussed. If your deepest, most secret thoughts instantly became your physical appearance for everyone around you to see, if you literally couldn't hide behind your fixed human form, how would your world, your relationships, your everyday interactions change today? It's a pretty fascinating thought experiment hidden right inside this cosmic mythology. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me as a cosmic anthropologist today. I really hope this structured breakdown helped illuminate the text for you. Keep asking questions, keep looking at things from new perspectives, and I will see you in the next explainer.